Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in all of your different time zones around the world and across the country. Welcome aboard once again. It's Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning, 1 a.m. in London, and it's 9 a.m. in Tokyo. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Frank Allan, and welcome to another edition of Talk Back Live. This is where we get together each week, and we bring you great conversation, and we have a lot of fun. Of course, I always start off the party by giving you conversation, and if you want to chime in, all you have to do is type in there, and I will see you right there on the big screen. I will entertain all of your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And if you have any comments to make about anything at all, we're free exchange. That's what we're all about. And we try to rope you in each week. That's what the show is all about, to get you part of it, make you part of it, and get other people involved too. So thank you so much for being along with us. We've got a lot of great show for you planned today. Of course, Brian Camp is going to be along in just a few minutes. He'll be coming along in a few minutes with the latest developments in today's world of sports update. That, of course, I'm pretty sure he has a lot to talk about. And we're going to be exchanging ideas about sports too. I'm going to chime in. I like to chime in on sports. So he'll be here. I have for you later on this day in history. We'll go through those situations. And of course, we'll also have those movies that you like, Turn to Classic Movies, all of the great movies that you remember from way back when that will probably jog your memory. We have all of that coming up. And of course, you and I and the rest of the world. So thank you so much for being along with us. If you're joining us for the first time, don't make it your last time. Those of you who have been with us from the beginning, you already know that we're here and you know what to do. You know the protocol already. But for those of you who are new, we're here every Thursday at this time between 8 and 9. And of course, you can catch us all around the world, no matter where you go. I don't care where you go. It doesn't matter where you can go. You can be anywhere around the world, and we'll be right there with you because we're broadcasting on a lot of different places. We're broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as well. It's all there. And so we invite you to come along with us and have a little fun. That's what it's all about. Got to get a little news, but we'll talk about that Facebook situation because we're not broadcasting live on Facebook right now. Okay, and we'll talk more about that. Those of you who have been with us for a while, you already know, but those of you who are looking for us all of this time and couldn't find us and then finally found us here, broadcasting on YouTube and Instagram. Okay, the situation is that we're not broadcasting on YouTube, and we'll tell you more about that later. But I have some other news, as I said. I don't know when it's going to be, have no idea when it's going to be. Don't know just yet. All I know is that we are going to be broadcasting on a fourth place, all right? And that place is called Twitch. You ever hear of Twitch? Twitch TV. Twitch TV. A lot of you may know about it. Twitch TV. We're going to be started broadcasting on it. Now, I was trying to target a date when we can start this thing going with Twitch. And I was thinking about when we get back on the air live on Facebook, which would be about another month from now. We have a whole month to go through without Facebook. And we'll be back. I can tell you the actual date when we'll be back on the air on this show. We'll be back on Thursday on the 5th of May. The 5th of May is when we'll be back on Facebook. And of course, the 6th of May on the Coffee Hour. And I'm thinking about doing it then. We don't know. It may be before that. We may be broadcasting live before that. We don't know. We have to figure it out. I'm just throwing this as a heads up for all of you, so you'll know that we are going to be broadcasting on a fourth platform, and we would like you guys to be around with us. It'll help too. We may meet some new people along the way who will join us in conversation each week, both on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. We're looking forward to that. So we'll let you know more about that when that time comes. I can't wait to see that happens. As a matter of fact, I can tell you this, that we do have a Twitch account already there. It's already there. It's already there, already and ready to go. The only thing I have to do is give you the actual website of Twitch that we're on, our own account, TV, and you'll know. It's Twitch. Twitch is sort of like YouTube. It's a TV platform, TV station. And it's like YouTube. We have YouTube TV and we have Twitch TV. So it's like that. So we'll let you know more about that when that comes along. And I just can't wait for that to happen. Just can't wait for that to happen. And as I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Camp will be along in just a few because he's got the sports coming up. And here we are, the last day of March. The last day of March, that means March Madness is over. Here's the last day of Women's History Month. It's the last day of that. All right, so we had a lot of things going in March Madness and Women's History Month. But you know something, even though that this is the last day for Women's History Month, we're still going to make sure that we acknowledge our women and make sure that they're there for us and we're there for them. And we'll be one big happy family as long as we make the women happy. Women have done so many great things over the years, and they're doing the job at one time men didn't do, right? Or men did, and they just called it men's work, man's work, you know. But women have moved along. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're entrepreneurs. You know, a lot of women are very powerful in this day and age. You know, one comes to mind is Oprah Winfrey. You know, you can be like Oprah Winfrey. You don't have to be her, but you can be just like Oprah Winfrey. You know, these young girls are coming up and they have their whole lives ahead of them. Once they get out of high school, go through college and get their degrees or whatever they have to do to get out there in the world. You know, they have an equal chance to get out there and make something of themselves. Start early. You know, you're that young, you start early, you save your money. And by the time, if maybe you have a trust fund, maybe your parents hooked you up with a trust fund when you were just a little infant, just coming out, and things like that. So you save, and who knows what you can be. Women are moving up, they're moving up. And you know something, the fight is still not over. There's still a lot to do. We already know that there's a lot to do, a lot of things that women should be involved in, and they still have to break down those barriers to get in there. And here's another thing that we need to work on too, equal pay for women. It's another thing that we have to work with. So let's consider that, okay, Women's History Month, this is the last day, but the fight goes on all year, every year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Women, women, women. Okay, and us men should stand by our women. That's what we should do. So again, this will be the last time I'll say it. Happy Women's History Month to each and all of you great women out there. And while I'm at it, I just want to also give my best out to all the people in Ukraine. All right, we know all about that. That's happening there too. It's a lot of things going on. And here's a war that no one asked for. We certainly didn't ask for it. And this war could possibly, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed on this one, it could possibly escalate into World War III. We don't want that. None of us want that. We don't want World War III. We don't want a war, period. Not at all. But this is where we are right now. The latest thing, Vladimir Putin said that he was going to draw back some of his troops. Now, it's safe to say you can take that with a grain of salt. You know, there could be something up this man's sleeve that can tell you that to actually believe that. But right now, by him allegedly saying that there is no evidence that it happened, or there's no evidence that it's going to happen. So let's keep our fingers crossed and make sure that we don't go for the fall for the okie doke. All right. There's so many things, but we have lost so many women and children. I watched TV today and I see once were beautiful buildings, now high rises, beautiful high rises where people lived. And now the buildings look like skeletons, all scorched, windows broken out. It's just like nothing's there. And I'm just imagining a lot of people lost a lot, of course, in their homes. I'm praying that a lot of people got out of there before, anything occurred and maybe moved on. People are walking miles. People are trying to reach that border. And people are saying they would rather live on the streets than to stay in Ukraine, at least for right now. There's so many things happening. A lot of people don't even know if they're coming back. They're leaving. A lot of the husbands sent their wives and their children across the border to meet friends and family and people that would take them in. And so they can continue to fight the fight there in Ukraine. And some women have returned, left their children with friends and family, and returned back to Ukraine to be with their husbands to continue to fight. There's a lot going on. And I must commend all of the people in Ukraine. I must commend them because, Putin laid it on the line and said, we're going to keep bombing you unless you surrender. We're going to keep at it unless you surrender. They didn't do it yet. They didn't do it yet. I mean, it's a war zone over there, but they still are going. They're doing everything they possibly can to keep things going, keep people alive. And it was sad to me to see how people come up with their little babies. Babies are getting killed. And the ones that are surviving, the mothers and the dads alike, they're trying to cross the border, jumping on trains to reach the next station to get out of that area. Some people, when they reach their destination, wherever that was, people have taken strangers into their homes because they feel for these people. Taking strangers in their homes, feeding them. There are a lot of places where they're cooking for them, giving them a meal. A lot of them will walk miles and miles and miles and miles to get there where they were going, just to even get to a train, taking their children, and just trying to leave all of this behind and not knowing whether they're ever going to get back or not. They may get back. It may be a long time before they get back. Now they have to rebuild. When all of this is over, everything is and it's going to cost billions and billions of dollars, as you already know. All of those beautiful places, those houses, everything, apartment buildings, high rises. They're just gone. There's just nothing there. It's just, wow. You ever see that movie? Well, that type of a movie. I'm not saying any particular movie, but like the world came to an end and all you see was rubble and garbage and smoke and soot and everything, but nobody's there. And that's what it looks like there. That's exactly what it looks like there. A lot of people, a lot of reporters, they go there, getting their, the news, feeding it back to wherever they are. A lot of the local people here in New York, they have reporters that go out there and they bring the news back there. They just want to see what it's like firsthand. And I get very depressed on watching it on TV. So can you imagine actually being there, watching that? And you would have to ask someone, if you know a person that's in the media, just ask them, what was it like? And I'm pretty sure they can give you a story. So let's continue to send our prayers up to all of the people in the Ukraine, and let's keep it going. We don't want to fight, but we have to do what we have to do to survive. That's exactly what's happening. We have to do what we have to do to survive. Okay, here's a little news item a lot of you probably heard about too. Just found out just yesterday, Bruce Willis is retiring from acting. You already know that, due to a diagnosis called aphasia. Now that's a brain disease where I guess, I don't know too much. I'm not a doctor, but I would imagine it's one of those diseases where it just puts you unconscious, where you can't communicate with other people, or you can't communicate at all mentally. And so Bruce Willis, his family just put it all on Twitter yesterday, and it hit the news, and everybody knows now. But Bruce Willis is retiring from acting. Listen, miracles happen. I do believe in miracles. Miracles do happen. And all we have to do is just, whisper a little prayer. Bruce Willis has been in the business for many years. Bruce Willis from his all of his Die Hard series. When he started in that sitcom with Sybil Shepherd, Moonlighting. Remember that? That's where he started. I heard a story about Bruce Willis, that when he started, because Bruce Willis was born in Germany. He was born in Germany. But I understood, I don't know how true the story is. I'm trying to research it. I want to get evidence on it, but I just heard the story. I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm not sure what's happened, but I heard that he was working, I believe it was in Brooklyn, in a bar. He was a bartender in Brooklyn. And he was, bartenders have a tendency to have outgoing personalities. They're jokers, and they just make their customers feel good while they're out there. Well, they said this guy was working at the bar, and he was a funny guy, and he was discovered in the bar. And so that's something that they say that's how he got to start. And so I would imagine, I don't know, did he do any? I'm not sure whether or not he did any stand-up comedy, because he was kind of a funny guy, but I really didn't know if he was a comedian. I don't know. I'm just guessing maybe he took a shot at it at certain times, but I haven't heard anything whether he did that or not. But, that was his claim to fame, was Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd. So that was great. So we want to send out our prayers and our thoughts out to Bruce Willis, his family, his friends, his fans, people who work with him, people who knew him well, and to his ex-spouse, Demi Moore, who he will be bonded with forever because they have children together, and his children, of course. We just want to send up our prayers and thoughts to all of those people. We're looking forward for Brian to be here. He should be here any minute now, hopefully, because he has the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. He may be running a little behind. It's 18 minutes past the hour now. That's what it is. That's the time. It's 18 minutes past the hour. And just in case, again, if you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. Talk Back Live, that's where we are. Talk Back Live, again, those of you who are just joining us right now, we're here every Thursday between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. And of course, we invite you to chat with us if you like. All you have to do is right there. We're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram, and we're usually live on Facebook. But I said live on Facebook, but we're live on YouTube, I should say. Live on YouTube and Instagram, but we're not live on Facebook this week. We will be back on the 5th of May. That's when we'll be back. The 5th of May is on a Thursday. So that's when we'll do our first Talk Back Live program since we have been taken off the air over there on Facebook. And we'll explain more about that later as the show goes on what happened with that. But those of you who followed us, you already know that, but a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, were looking for us, couldn't find us. And by the way, this show, after this show is over, we are going to broadcast it. We're going to rebroadcast it. We're going to post it on Facebook. So for the people who are wondering where we are, we're still on the air, at least you'll see the rerun of the show. So we'll have that for you right after this show is over. This show is over at 9 o'clock our time. Eastern. And so sometime after that hour, after we go off the air, we will post it for you. So that's where we stand. Well, you know something, we're going to be looking forward to a lot of things. This summer is coming up. Summer is coming up. You know that, right? Summer is coming up. And of course, I say this is the end of March. This is the last day of March. And which brings us into April. Tomorrow is April 1st. Were you born on that day? Anybody born April 1st? No, I had my hand up. I wasn't born April 1st. Was anybody born April 1st? I sure like to know. I sure like to meet someone who's born April 1st. You can let us know. But anyway, after April, you know, we go to May, start, you know, flowers. You know, listen, let me tell you something. As we speak, right, the cherry blossoms are starting to bloom. I mean, some places in New York, they're starting to bloom. I know outside my window in my apartment, I looked out the window across the street, there's a cherry blossom tree, and it's starting to bloom at this time. And we had warm weather today. It was kind of warm today, but it was warm enough to say, okay, you know, we're warm, but it wasn't like, they said it was like spring, but it wasn't like spring. You kept your jacket on anyway. But it was kind of warm enough out there. And it just lets you know, it just is like a preview of what's going to happen during the summertime. It's a preview. So, and in the summertime, of course, you know, you guys who fancy summer as I do, I'm pretty sure wherever you are, you'll have a lot of events coming up, summertime events. I know here in New York, we used to have all of the street fairs coming along, but we don't have those anymore for whatever reason. I don't know, they were fun because you're always able to do something on the street fairs. They had all of these vendors and all of those places where you can go buy everything from jewelry to old vintage record albums and all sorts of things, but they don't have those anymore. I'm pretty sure in other cities, they may have them. You know, maybe they have them where you are, you know, but whatever it is. And you know what you can do too, if you like, you can always get in touch with me. If you have, let's say, information on what kind of events may be taking place over where you are, you know, that we don't know about, we could pass it along to all of the listeners here. You know, we can do that. And we will certainly do that. And then when summertime comes around, I could also throw out some events for people who actually live in New York. You know, if you don't know anything about it, and I could like, I'm your platform. I'm the platform where I can give you all of that information. So there you go. Okay, it's 22 minutes past the hour, and we're looking for Brian Camp to come along. He hasn't arrived yet. Don't know where he is, but I hope he's soon. It's got to be some kind of explanation on why he's late. I don't know. We'll have to find out and see what happens. But when he does come, he'll have all of the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update that's coming up right away. Okay, so information. And as I said, this week, it was one hell of a week. All right. And I'll throw out the situation of you because all of you guys already know about it. All of you guys already know about it. The Will Smith saga. Everybody's talking about it. It's online. It went viral, and it's you know I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it. I mean, everybody else is talking about it. I am going to talk about it because it's new situations came up, and I'll be able to relay all that information for you. But new situations came up, new videos, and I'll talk more about that. But right now, I am going to take the time to go over, he's here right now. He's here right now. Over to Charlotte, North Carolina, if I can find him. He's around somewhere. I'll wait till him to pop up. Brian Camp will be here with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. And then, of course, later on in the program, also, we have, as I said before, we have the information for Turner Classic Movies and This Day in History. So, before we lose him, there he is, Brian Camp, with the latest developments. I don't want to say the late Brian Camp, because that sounds so final.
No, it doesn't sound good. No.
I'll put it this way. I might embarrass you a little bit. The lagging behind Brian Camp.
Yeah, that sounds better. Yes, the lagging behind Brian Camp. Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm here. I'm glad to be here. I'm not in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm in Mount Vernon, New York.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm here for 2 days.
That explains why you were late. You were traveling.
Yeah. Well, the New York traffic could be a humdinger, as you know, and it could be rough. It could be rough, and that's another story. I'll tell you about it at later on and everything. But
you certainly came in time for the rain.
Yes, I did. That's why my flight was delayed too. Yeah, yes, but I'm here though. 58 degrees. Mount Vernon, beautiful. It stopped raining. So I'm glad that everybody's okay. You look well, of course, and hello to everybody. Let me get the sports. Well, this is the weekend, Final Four weekend. Final Four, here we go. It's the NCAA men's and women's Final Four. The men's is set up for Saturday, April 2nd, and the championship game is going to be April 4th on a Monday. So Saturday, we got Villanova versus Kansas. That's going to be at 6:09 tip-off time. And North Carolina versus Duke. That's going to be at 8:49 tip-off time. Both games is going to be on TBS. The winner of those games is going to be playing on the national championship on April 4th. The women's is set. First is April 1st till tomorrow. South Carolina versus Louisville and Connecticut versus Stanford. First game is at 7. The second game is at 9:30 on ESPN, and the championship game will be on Sunday, April 3rd, 7 p.m. at ESPN. So you all set to have it, and just make sure that you're there. Baseball, Major League Baseball wary of players finding new ways to add additional tack to their baseball will continue to routinely inspect pitches for foreign substance during the 2022 season. According to an internal memo obtained by ESPN, Vice President of on-field operations Michael Hill states that all pitchers should expect at least one inspection. There's one inspection by umpires every time they appear in the game, either between innings or during pitcher changes. So they're going to be doing that again to check, see if anybody's doctoring the ball with grease or scuff up the ball, and they're going to just keep in check. If you get caught once, I think you get one second time, you're going to have to serve some time and paying a fine as well. NFL football says 32 teams will hire minority offensive assistant coach for the 2022 season, part of a series of policy enhancements and announcements. Mondays was to address the league's ongoing diversity efforts. Now, the coach can be either a female. It's no longer that it could be men or black men, but it could be a female or a member of an ethnic or racial minority. The coach must work closely with the head coach and offensive staff with the goal of increasing in minority participation in the pool of offensive coaches that eventually precedes the most sought after candidates for head coaching positions. More news about this here lawsuit by Brian Flores, New York Giants co-owner John Mara, again strongly denied allegations brought on by a lawsuit from Brian Flores that accused his organization of a sham, interviewed during his head coach search, and insisted the team will not be settling out of court. So they're not going to settle out of court. They're very serious about this. They're going to fight this. In the NBA, New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced that the mandate for unvaccinated athletes and performers has been lifted. What that means is, in short term, for teams with like the Brooklyn Nets and New York Knicks, New York Yankees, and New York Mets, is that unvaccinated players will be able to play in their home stadiums and home arenas. So there you have it. If you want to throw hockey in there too, same thing with hockey. This day in sports, March 31st, 1909, National Baseball Commission's rules players who jump contracts to be suspended for 5 years. Players join the outlaw organizations suspended for 3 years. 1973, Muhammad Ali suffers a broken jaw in a shock split points decision loss to Ken Norton over 12 rounds. However, Ali that same year wins the rematch in another controversial split decision, and he won that one. 1975, men's basketball, UCLA Bruins wins its 10th NCAA championship, beating Kentucky 92-95 as Coach John Wooden announced his retirement 2 days earlier. So he had this planned out that he was going to retire 2 days before the national championship. That gave the UCLA Bruins motivations to win this championship, to send him packing and as a farewell gift. 1994, Chicago White Sox assigned former NBA superstar Michael Jordan to the Birmingham Barons of a Class AA Southern League, but returns to the NBA after one season. So he didn't last long as a baseball player. 2004, with a 2-1 defeat of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in Tokyo, the New York Yankees pitcher Kevin Brown becomes the second pitcher in Major League Baseball history to beat all 30 teams. Birthdays on this date: 1878, Jack Johnson, boxing great, he would be 144 years old, was born in Galveston, Texas, and he was one of the first great champions of all time. 1962, John Taylor, wide receiver, 3-time Super Bowl winner, was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports.
You know, not that this would interest you or some of the people who are watching today, because you guys live in different cities, maybe different countries. And I'm speaking locally right now from where I'm coming from, New York. WPIX TV here in New York City always broadcast the Yankee games. They always broadcast the Yankee games in conjunction with the cable, but this way they get free TV for those people.
Which is the Yes Network, I believe. They teamed up with PIX, yes.
I understand. I just found out this evening through a friend of mine that I used to work with a long time ago that they're pulling, and I didn't even know, because I never really watched WPIX TV for the Yankee game. I didn't even know they were still playing, but they said they're pulling off the Yankee games because there's no more free Yankee games. The Yankee organization is now going to Amazon. What's that little smiley face, Amazon? You see
Prime Video.
That's it.
Yeah.
Amazon now. And
I'm not surprised, yeah.
so there's no more, if there were any free Yankee games on regular TV, it's over. Of course, I'm not gonna, miss it because I always tune to Yes Channel anyway. But for the benefit of people who don't have cable or refuse to get cable, they're not gonna see any Yankee games.
That's sad because WPIX and the New York Yankees go hand in hand for years. And just like the WOR, which is now called the CW, I believe, affiliated with the New York Mets.
Yeah.
But
that's right.
Yeah, that's sad. That's wow. I remember when I was a kid, it was Phil Rizzuto, Bill White, and Don Messer that was doing the WPIX games, and before cable came along, and eventually cable will just be something that's taken over. Well, cable itself is not going to last long because they got the Fire Stick that's everybody's using now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what Amazon is taking a big leap, not only with them but also with football too.
Yeah.
They have arrangements with the NFL as well.
Yeah.
Wow. A lot of money.
Yeah, it is, and so I really feel bad for that, because we're all entitled to have a little, free sports somewhere. And but like you say, since the cable came over, I mean, some people are forced to get cable anyway.
Yeah.
You're forced to get it.
Yeah.
Because you may live, especially if you're living in a place like in New York, maybe not in your area where you are in Charlotte, but if you live here in New York, where we have a lot of buildings and the signals bounce off the buildings and you get snow and all kinds of receptions on your TV, and you're forced to get cable.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Quick thought before I go. What's your thought about on the Oscars?
Well, we're gonna be talking about that.
Okay.
We're gonna be talking about that.
Okay. I'll listen in, and I'll listen in. It's just so sad.
It is sad. It is sad. I mean, there was no. Well, look, you listen in, and we'll see what the people say, and we'll talk about it. Then you're gonna be here tomorrow, broadcasting from
Mount Vernon. Yes.
Again?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see you tomorrow morning on the coffee hour. And hey, listen, keep prayers open for Chris Rock. I felt bad for him, but listen, in a way, it was okay, because guess what? In a way, Chris Rock, he scored big time in Boston. Did you hear about it?
No, I did not.
He had a show in Boston, and they gave him 2 standing ovations.
Wow. Well, I will say this here, and then I'll let you go ahead and talk about it after I get off. I will say this. Will Smith is troubled. He is troubled, and his legacy might be damaged now. However, I do understand why he reacted. I do understand, because as you know, growing up, you say something about our mothers,
oh yeah,
our wives,
that's right,
our children.
That's right.
It's World War III, as they say. It's Armageddon time, because nobody does that. I mean, that's most of my fights growing up, or maybe your fights growing up as a kid, is over our mothers and things like that.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, we'll talk about all of that. We'll catch you back here tomorrow.
Okay, see you then. Take care.
Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, doing his portion of Talkback, on Talkback Live, doing his portion of sports update. He's here every week, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports, and we're so glad to have him aboard with us. He'll be back here tomorrow doing his part of the 2020 feature, and he'll be doing that 20 past the hour sports update, and 22 the hour DJ Pete. Speaking of DJ Pete, I want to say hi to DJ Pete, who's checking us out on Instagram right now. Welcome aboard, DJ Pete, making those ducats. That's what he's doing. He's not going to be here tomorrow, so we're going to be filling in for him. I can't wait for him to get back. But listen. If you're in the money, I can't get angry at you. You're in the money, baby. You're in the money. So that's what it's all about. Anyway, just in case you're just joining us, we're here every Thursday between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Talkback Live. And we have great conversation and all kinds of good things we talk about. And if you want to join in for any reason, we can do that. All you have to do is just type right there, and I'll see you right there on the big screen. We'll catch you right there on the big screen. Okay, we're going to move along. We're a little behind, but that's okay. Thanks to Brian. But that's okay, because I could speed things up a little bit too. Okay, on this day in history in 1922, KFI AM in Los Angeles, California begins radio transmission. On this day in history in 1966, the USSR launches Luna 10, the first lunar orbit. That's the first lunar orbiter. On this day in history in 1968, US President Lyndon B. Johnson announces in an address to the nation, that he will not seek re-election. On this day in history in 1980, President Jimmy Carter delegates the bankruptcy industry. What I should delegate, what did I say delegate? I'm going crazy here. I'm going there. He deregulated. That's what I meant to say. I'm reading too fast. Okay, on this day in history in 1985, the 15th Easter Seal Telethon, they raised $27 million and $27,400,000. That's a lot of bread, baby. A lot of bread. Back in 1985, El Salvador's President Jose Napoleon Durant, the Christian Democratic Party, wins election. Back in 1986, 167 died when Mexicana Airlines Boeing 727 crashes. Also in 1986, 6 metropolitan county councils are abolished in England. Back in 1988, Pulitzer Prize award to Toni Morris for her novel Beloved. Back in 1996, Radio Canada International's final shortwave broadcast. I love shortwave radio. I'm going to do a show about shortwave radio one day. Okay, here we go. Former Vice President Al Gore is celebrating a birthday today. He was born on this day in 1948 in Washington, D.C. He's 74 today. Happy birthday, Mr. Gore. In 1948, David Eisenhower, author, grandson of President Eisenhower, got married to Julie Nixon. President Nixon's daughter was born on this day, by the way, was born in Westport, New York. And back in 1998, Bella Abzug, remember the lady with the fancy hats, those fancy hats? Bella Abzug, American politician, feminist, and activist. She dies at the age of 77. And finally, in 2005, Frank Perdue, American poultry farmer, died on this day. He was born in 1920. That's the chicken man. His son Jim took over the franchise of Perdue Chicken. And that's this day in history. And if you know anyone that's celebrating or you would like to bring out something that I haven't mentioned that maybe I didn't even know about, you can do that too. Just type it out there on the big screen and we'll get it out there for you. It's out there. It's out there. My name is Frank Allan. The name of the show is called Talk Back Live. And of course, as I said, we're here every Thursday between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern. And of course, we always have you guys involved. We want to say hi to you guys who are coming in. If you're late coming in, that's okay. Better late than never. You can always talk to us, but we're live on YouTube and Instagram at the moment. We will go back to live TV on Facebook again, because you know we're off of that. We're back on Facebook. May 5th, we're back on Facebook. So we have a whole month to do without Facebook, but we're getting there. We have 30 days left. So 30 days left and we're back. Okay, so if we could hold on a little bit. And as I said earlier too, we have, and I should have mentioned it to Brian, and if Pete is still there, I want you guys to know we are adding a new platform to our show. It's called Twitch TV. Ever hear of Twitch TV? Well, we've got our Twitch TV account there. It's all set and ready to go. We just have to figure out when we're starting to do some live broadcasting on it. We'll talk more about that as it goes along, and we'll do that for you. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to get back to that, and we talked about it. I wanted to get back to the Will Smith saga. Now, a lot of you guys can chime in if you want. If you're out there, you're listening. If you're watching us live on Instagram, if you're watching us live on YouTube, you are free, and we can entertain the thought together. But it was quite a week. It was something. It was sad to me. It was sad to me, and I thought I've seen everything. I thought I've witnessed everything, but I don't think I've seen anything yet. But this is not the first time weird things happen on these shows, and it won't be the last time. I don't know if anything is going to exceed what we saw Sunday. Now, I didn't watch it in real time, and I have a reason for not watching these award shows anymore. I used to do it because it was my business to do it, especially the music award shows. So when I got back on the air the following day, I could always talk about it, who won, who didn't win, and things like that. But it was the slap heard around the world as opposed to the shot heard around the world. It was the slap heard around the world. And it was in for the Oscars this past Sunday. A lot of you saw it. And if you didn't see it by now, maybe you had your head buried in the sand. If you didn't see it live, like I didn't see it live, of course it surfaced. It was all over social media. I don't care where you go. It was on Facebook. It was on YouTube, Instagram. All of those places, people are still talking about it even today. I was just hoping that it would be a stale moment by the time it gets to us, because when we get news like that, always something occurs on the weekends and we don't go back on the air until Thursday, but they're still talking about it. And it had to do with Will Smith's wife, who shaved her hair. She's embracing that, by the way. And I gotta say this. She looks pretty good with her hair shaved. She looks great. I was taking a look at her and she looks good. Now, Jada Pinkett Smith she embraced that shaving hair. And it's a style now that she's using. And a lot of women are using these styles, whether or not they're having a problem with the hair growth or not. But she had shaved her hair, and that's because she lives with this autoimmune disorder, and it's called if I can pronounce it correctly, because everyone pronounces it differently, but I pronounce it as I see it. It's alopecia. Did I pronounce that right? Everybody pronounces it different, but you get the idea. It's a situation where it attacks the follicles in your hair and leave you with bald spots. Now, I noticed that Jada Smith, you can still see her hairline, and when it grows out, I don't know. You can still see the hairline, and what I see, it wasn't like shiny bald, but you could still see where the hair was, and it didn't look bad at all. It didn't look bad at all. But who knows? Who knows? The good news, though, is that she could revert it with treatment. She can get her hair back, and it could be taken care of. All she has to do is go see her doctor, and they can take it. It could be, that's the good news, because I heard about that. I researched that. It's the good news that it could be reverted so she can get her hair back. And, science are working on a lot of things that you can, if you're bald, I mean, I guess I can do things to get my hair back, but, I'm going to grow old gracefully anyway. Anyway, so that's the situation. But getting back to all of that, it was, you heard about Chris Rock said something about he was going to see, he's looking forward to seeing the sequel of G.I. Jane, which, by the way, the original one was with Demi Moore. And, it was supposed to be a laugh. To me, it wasn't funny. It definitely wasn't funny to Jada Pinkett. And then when you look at it too, Will Smith laughed at that joke. He actually laughed at that joke. And but I didn't see it on camera, until she gave Will the eye or something, all right? And he said, oh, I got it. And maybe it didn't hit him till later. And then that's when he went up on the stage and slapped him. Now, a new video came out just before I came on the air tonight. A new video came out. You saw, the front of everybody, but someone in the back who was ever at the Oscars was filming from the back of Will Smith. When Chris Rock said, Will Smith just smacked the S out of me, right? Jada laughed. It's in a video that was on my phone. It was sent to me. I picked it up. Actually, it was on AOL. And I get, the alert, and I picked it up and I looked at the video. And when she said that, even though she was angry, when she said Will Smith just slapped the S out of me, she was laughing about it. She was laughing. You know, if you ever get a hold of that video, check it out. You can go on AOL, maybe they have it on there. And it was something. Now, I felt bad for the both of them. I felt bad for Will Smith, who I think, ladies and gentlemen, is going through, we don't know what was going on with him before the ceremonies. We don't know what was going on. We have no idea what was going on with him. It could have been something that happened and it triggered something, and Chris Rock was there at the moment. It could have been that. I'm not making any excuses for it. It could have been that. I don't know. But like Brian said, you know, I do understand why he did it. We know he did it. I don't know what he was thinking when he did it, but we do know that he did it. And I understand in a way he's protecting his wife. I frankly believe that it shouldn't have been handled that way, you know, not on live TV. And I'm pretty sure that segment wasn't done on live TV, but you can, when it was streaming on the internet, you probably saw it, but I don't think it was, I didn't see it in real time. So anyone that's seen it in real time probably know better than I. And then there's Chris Rock. I think, you know, we all can't be Don Rickles, you know, and I'm pretty sure Don Rickles got threats through his career, you know, because he was a little off with that. You know, when you talk about people's wives or talk about their children, their family or whatever, that's kind of a touchy situation. Because growing up as a kid, we used to do in the 60s what they call playing the dozens. What that means is that was ranking on the other person, you know, saying something like, you're so skinny, you can tap dance on a razor blade. Or your family got your clothes from Lord and Taylor. The tailor makes them and the Lord knows you need them. You know, things like that, you know. You can talk about you can talk about the person, you can talk about your siblings, you can talk about something, you might get away with the father. But God help you if you talk about the mother. And I remember a time growing up as a kid, had this guy who had his brother, and he always said, you know, if you bother me, I'm going to get my big brother on you. And he used to scare everybody on the block, including me, because the big brother was a big brother. He was big. And one day that kid, and we were all running buddies. One day he got up in my mother's face and I saw nothing but red. And at that time, didn't care what happened. Consequences, nothing fazed me anymore. And I knocked the kid down right in front of his brother, the big brother, right? I knocked him down, punched him, knocked him down, and his big brother was looking down at him like that. Didn't care about that. So anyway, the point is that comedians have a tendency to go off a little bit, just like Chris did. But everybody, some people who support Chris Rock, some people support Will Smith, some people are saying, you know, Will Smith, I stand with him. He did right. He did by this. I don't like, and some people talk very bad about Chris Rock. You know, some people say, oh, Chris Rock, he's a sellout. He's a coon or whatever, you know. And one of the things that I'm not into that. I don't call people those names. Whatever you feel about them, you want to talk about it behind closed doors. But when you talk about it in public, it's not such a good thing. And everybody's taking sides, but this is my stance on it. I'll tell you my stance on it because I have to move along with this, and I'll talk more about it. Whatever I don't talk about tonight, I'll talk about on the coffee hour. My stance on it is both guys were out of line. Both. I don't blame just one. I blame both. First of all, let's leave the jokes. Let's leave the family jokes alone. Maybe that's how he made his living, but it's to the point now where people are not using that anymore. Leave the jokes alone. For Will Smith, should have never went up there. Should have never went up there and did what he did. Now, again, maybe Will has issues. Remember that in 2016, Chris Rock ragged on his wife before. So I guess maybe Will Smith he says, look, enough is enough. This is it. Lay off my wife, lay off my family. I don't want to hear it anymore. And I can guarantee you Chris won't do it again. I can guarantee you that. But still, I was saddened to see that. They did ask Chris Rock to leave, not Chris Rock, they did ask Will Smith to leave the arena, but he refused. And shortly after the slap in the face, he gets his Oscar. And he goes up and makes his speech. Now, I had posted all of that on my Facebook page. You can go back and look at it. But it was a sad thing to see all of the people that were there. You know, you had Wanda Sykes. She was one of the co-hosts with Amy Schumer, and so on and so forth. And comedian George Willis said this morning that he thinks that Will Smith should be in jail. They should lock him up, and Chris should press charges and sue him. Now, Chris is not pressing charges as far as we know right now, but if he did, he would have a good case. He would have a good case. The evidence is right there. You can't hide from these evidence. It's right there. I will talk more about this. Maybe I didn't get into the real meat of it, but you get the idea. I'll talk more about that on the coffee hour. In case you're just joining us, this is Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan, and I want to quickly go over to tell you about the movies that we have for you. Movies from Turner Classic Movies, and I think that you'll enjoy it. Turner Classic Movies, you'll see, we'll start with The Tender Trap from 1955, Frank Sinatra and Debbie Reynolds. That's on Turner Classic Movies. That's Friday at 6 p.m. Little Caesar with Edward G. Robinson, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we have a James Cagney movie too as well called The Public Enemy from 1931, James Cagney and Jean Harlow. And that's on not Turner Classic Movies, but it's on Movies. That's a channel called Movies. It's on there. You can catch that Saturday at 9:40 p.m. Now, none of these movies will overlap, so you can get to see them in their real times. Again, I'll repeat them once again quickly. Tender Trap, Frank Sinatra and Debbie Reynolds. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Little Caesar, 1930 with Edward G. Robinson. That's on Movies as well. All right. The one, Tender Trap, is on Turner Classic Movies. But the Movies is from Edward G. Robinson, and Saturday at 8 p.m. on Movies. And so is The Public Enemy on Movies, 1931, James Cagney and Jean Harlow. And that's at Saturday at 9:40 p.m. And you can check it out right there. And there you go. Okay, before I go, I want to also explain to you, ladies and gentlemen, as I said to you, that we are not on Facebook. We're not broadcasting on Facebook, and we will be back in a month. As a matter of fact, the actual date will be May 5th, Thursday, May 5th, right here on Talk Back Live. And of course, the following day on the coffee hour. That's when we'll begin. Now, the reason why we were off is because there was a post that was discovered 2 years ago that I posted that they didn't like, which had nothing to do with anything. But, you know, you're not going to cry over spilled milk. We're in jail. They took us off for a whole, initially 59 days. So now we're down to 30 days left before we go back on the air. And so those of you who watch this show, we're looking forward to seeing us. We will broadcast this show right after it's over. We will broadcast this show. We'll post it on Facebook so everybody get a chance to see it too. And also I want to mention that pretty soon we'll be broadcasting on Twitch. We'll tell you more about that too as it goes on. We don't know when we're going to do it, but we're all set. We have the account all set and we're ready to go. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen, for this segment. I thank you so much for being along with us. Again, we're going to be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. The coffee hour. Frank Allan, that's me. Brian Camp. Latest developments in today's world of sports is part of the 2020 feature DJ Pete. He's not going to be here, but he'll have information. He sent it to me on information on people of notoriety and their birthdays. I'll be reciting that for you. That's all coming up too. Other than that, I will be back here next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Talkback Live. I want you guys to enjoy your rest of your night. Have a great morning, good evening, and a good night. And I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
You've been watching Talkback Live with your host, Frank Allan. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistance, Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce, and I'm your announcer, Donna Stanky. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talkback Live.